fuck! It's pure irony that I even decided to review this game, as the entire east coast of Australia has recently had to deal with severe rain, which resulted in flooding, destroyed homes, and various casualties. If you were affected by this, I sincerely wish you well, and I apologise for any water-related jokes in this video that you may find offensive. If that doesn't get you in the mood to laugh at the dumb Australian, then I don't know what will. Here we have the PS3. Here we have the PS3. I've used it once and that was over a year ago. Released in early 2010, Heavy Rain was an exclusive game for the console, and quite laughably, one that made me jealous I didn't own one of these things. Now before I even start, I have a spoiler warning. This game is not a game. It's an interactive movie disguised as a game, meaning that it would be impossible for me to talk about the main plot without some important story spoilers. I'll also warn you again later on in the video before I talk about the ending. So if you're cool with that, let's start this bitch. The game starts off with one of our protagonists, Ethan Mars, waking up. This is going to be one of those days, isn't it? It becomes apparent pretty quickly that the majority of the gameplay here is going to be controlling the basic functions of the human body. Ethan is lucky that this is a game, or he'd be forced to stay in bed for the rest of time. Well, this is fun. I've been walking around this asshole's bedroom for 5 minutes now without any music or dialogue. What's the key to making an enthralling story? Hook me from the start. This is boring as fuck. The first words that come out of this guy's mouth are,
"I better take a shower and get dressed before I go downstairs."
That does not make me want to invest time believing in this character and his story. If this was a Telltale game, I'd have already been fed enough exposition to get me started and the action would be happening. Instead, I have to try and drive this generic white dude to the shower so that I can watch him remove the shit crust from his ass and rotate the left stick to scrub his balls. Just what every little boy wants in their game. And then I get to feed my bird, put on my douchiest shirt and go downstairs to wander around aimlessly interacting with shit. This game uses various button prompts and motion with the controller to do shit. Sounds good on paper, but try doing this without looking like a total asshole. They even make it overly complicated to walk. Instead of just using the left stick and moving with ease, you have to hold down R2 to move forward and use the left stick to steer yourself left and right. It reminds me of the walking controls in the early Grand Theft Auto games. It reminds me how shit those controls were. This is not gameplay, and I'm genuinely pissed by this. While I understand that this style of gameplay has become the norm in recent years, it can be pretty hit and miss whether it actually works or not, in my opinion. This game was developed by Quantic Dream, who are also responsible for Beyond Two Souls, among other things. These guys and Telltale Games are, in my opinion, the two juggernauts of this game genre, but up until now, I've only played Season 1 and 2 of Telltale's Walking Dead series and this. For such a specific genre, both styles are totally different. Telltale's style sees the common gameplay as dialogue trees to build character, and it uses interactive QuickTime events whenever there is any action. This is normally split up with the typical walk around and fuck about with stuff in between. Heavy Rain, on the other hand, has the QuickTime events control basic movement for even the slowest of scenes, as well as any action sequences. Put simply, The Walking Dead presents situations for gameplay, whereas Heavy Rain's main gameplay is working up to and trying to find those situations that don't end up lasting very long and aren't all that exciting. Add in a bunch of characters that in my opinion aren't all that interesting, and you have yourself an award-winning piece of pretentious art. For those of you that are fans of this game's style, that's totally cool. I'm not trying to change anyone's opinions, nor am I trying to shit all over this game. I'm just of the strong opinion that a game should throw you right off the deep end to see if you'll sink or swim. And that doesn't happen here. So the story sees Ethan with all of his ADHD and his happy family celebrating his son Jason's 10th birthday. It's all lovey-dovey happy family propaganda. Can you spot the exposition here? Because I can't. The story then takes a dark and unrealistic turn when the other son, Sean, goes upstairs instead of going directly to the birthday cake, only to find the bird dead. Wait, the bird is dead? I was up here 2 minutes ago and it was totally fine. You're trying to break my heart, Mr. Cage, but you're not doing so well. That is, until the next scene. The family take a trip to the mall for one of the most hilariously funny and also heated moments in video game history. It's Ethan's job to watch over Jason, but because hyperactive idiot disorder runs in the family apparently, he just wanders off into the crowd. Now we have to just walk around going,
Jason! 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 Jason!
This is supposed to be a really tense moment, which it is, but it's killed immediately by how hilarious this whole Jason shit is.
Jason!
You eventually find him and the two of you are hit by a fucking car, which kills Jason.
Jason!
Great! 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 So then we get more exposition and storytelling until Dad of the Year loses his other kid at the fucking park. He's been kidnapped by some crazy psychopath known as the Origami Killer, because a sick fuck that enjoys the creative hobby of folding paper to make things is the most original thing they could come up with. It's at this point in the game we start to change character between every scene. We've already discussed this terrible human being, but we also have Scott Shelby, a private investigator helping the families affected by the killer. We've got Norman Jayden, an FBI agent with 2 first names, officially working to find the killer, and Madison Page, a girl whose only character trait is that she suffers with insomnia. Other than that, she's just as stock as the rest of these people. I honestly can't care for any of them. They suck. Just in general, for me personally, whenever a game or a movie switches to different main characters, I find that it takes me forcibly out of the story. I can normally deal with that, but I had so much trouble here because I find none of these characters appealing to play as in the first place. They're all pretty much the same aside from Mr. FBI, but he doesn't even feel like he belongs in this game's universe. What the fuck is this? This asshat explores various crime scenes, but he puts on these glasses and enters the fucking Matrix. Seriously. It's like virtual reality. He touches the ground with his special glove and it tells him about all the DNA and shit. This takes place in 2011, so what's with all of this crap? The game is going for hyper-realism, but then it just throws a sci-fi curveball at you and expects you not to notice. Even LA Noire demolishes this. I don't see why Norman couldn't investigate this stuff like a normal human being instead of an extraterrestrial space fuck. Not that picking up objects and shaking them until they disintegrate is normal, but it fits better than this. There is no need for this to be here. How about instead of using your Google Glass to sort through evidence, you use the corkboard in your office, you Matrix twat? If you consider that to be a massive nitpick, I'm sorry to tell you, but I think you're wrong. In any other game, yeah, it probably would be. But in a game like this that's trying to be hyper-realistic, it is a massive issue in my opinion. The only character I actually enjoyed playing as is Shelby, just because he's the most realistic one here. Just some dude going around trying to do his part. The rest of the story sees Not-So-Dad of the Year go through various Saw-like death traps to prove to the killer that he can save his son. Everything from crawling through glass, driving into oncoming traffic, and even killing other people. These are my favourite parts of the story as they actually resemble gameplay. Strange how that works, isn't it? But through all of that, he also finds the time to have a screw, which is awkward when your parents walk in to look out of your window while that's on screen. Hello, my son. What the fuck is this? It's just a game I'm reviewing. I'm a big and successful YouTuber, you know. Well, you just keep playing your little game. I just come in to spy on the neighbours. Fucking Doris, what a total bitch! But at this point, you're probably wondering, what in the fuck does this have to do with rain? Well, aside from it being an excuse to make this game visually depressing, it's also how all of these victims are killed. They're locked in a drain until it fills up with rainwater and they drown. This is one fucked up dude doing that to little kids. So this is the part where I want to talk about the major story spoilers, so feel free to click the annotation on screen or skip ahead to the timecode shown if you'd like to avoid having this game ruined for you. So after a lot of investigative, quick-time events and just general fun, we start to uncover the tragic story of the origami killer. As a young boy, he and his brother lived in a bad home with an abusive father. One day they were playing on a construction site and his brother John got stuck in a drainage pipe and drowned because his father was happy to let him die. Cheerful lad. So this is his motive for the crimes, testing other parents. But like most of these games, depending on the options you chose, the story branches in a different direction. But unfortunately, the reveal of who actually committed the murders came out of nowhere and ruined the pacing of the story up until that point. For me anyway. So here it is. The origami killer was Scott Shelby. I liked the twist that you're actually playing as the killer, but like I said, my actions ruined the reveal and actually confused me at first. So there is a big showdown at the site where Sean is being held, and it's honestly less exciting or desperate than some of the other QuickTime events throughout the rest of the game. The ending I got was a pretty good one, I think. Sean was saved, Ethan and Madison move in together, Agent Fuck Off got on a talk show and then got attacked in virtual reality, and Scott's in a hole. Riveting. That was just one of the endings, however there are actually a heap more, but that brings up another complaint I have. Because I didn't find the gameplay or the characters all that interesting from the get-go, I don't feel motivated to play through this again just for the different endings. Again, multiple endings are a hit or miss scenario, and personally, I'd prefer a bunch of different decisions leading to the same outcome done well than 17 some different endings not worth my time exploring. That is just me, of course. So to conclude, this game that is barely a game actually did feel like a game at some points, but most of the time I found the gameplay boring for the most part. But because all of that is purely being used as the vehicle for a story, I will say that towards the end, I actually loved the story. Looking back, it was a fucking masterpiece in that regard. It's just a shame that it took a massive effort to reach the good bits. Heavy Rain gets 6 out of 10. Now before you flip your lid and call me an asshole, a 6 is still worth checking out because you may have the same feelings as me, or you may really enjoy it. The general feeling for these types of games is typically all over the board, but from what I understand about game design and storytelling fundamentals, there are some heavy issues here regardless. Heavy Rain issues. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share. I'm Square-Eyed Jack, and have a great fucking day. Thanks for watching.